Hello, welcome back. Today we are undertaking a crucial mission,
Whew.
saving your professional reputation at work.
That is a highly important mission and, frankly, a very necessary one. Judging by some of the emails I see, a lot of people confuse being direct with being, well, rude.
It's so easy to do.
It is, and they can damage relationships without even realizing it.
It happened to me just
Yeah.
recently. I sent an email to a client, a pretty simple request.
Okay.
And his reply came back saying, and I'm quoting him here, "Your communication style is aggressive."
Ouch.
I was so confused. I mean, I read my email back to myself and I just thought, I was just asking for the file. How is this aggressive?
And that feeling, that confusion is exactly what we're going to get into today. It's this point where you value efficiency, getting straight to the point.
I just want to be clear.
But it's so easy to overlook the subtle social cues built into professional writing. So our goal is to really unpack the strategy of using what some people call softening language.
Absolutely. Our mission today for you is to give you a genuine shortcut. We want to show you exactly how to communicate clearly and decisively without ever sounding unintentionally aggressive.
So we're going to break down that problematic email piece by piece.
And replace the aggression with, professional polish.
We're going to look at the actual structure of politeness in English communication,
Mm.
focusing on those small but really mighty phrases that can turn a blunt command into a collaborative request.
This is the difference between being heard and, well, being resented.
Exactly.
Okay, let's unpack this with the actual incident. I want you to listen carefully because if you've ever written an email like this when you're in a hurry, you will understand the pain.
I'm ready.
Okay, here's what I wrote. And I'm going to say it in that quick matter-of-fact tone I was using when I wrote it.
Go for it.
Send me the report by 5 p.m. You didn't answer my last question. Reply ASAP.
Ouch. Whoa.
Okay.
Yeah. Even just hearing those three sentences back to back, it sounds less like an email and more like a list of demands being barked across an office.
Barked. See, that's what he must have heard.
It's just too direct. The efficiency is its own worst enemy here.
But the report was due by 5 p.m. And they had forgotten to answer a really key question from our last exchange. I wasn't being emotional. I was just stating the facts. Why does being factual suddenly come across as rude?
This is the absolute core of the issue, It's this linguistic tension in English professional settings. And it's even more of a problem in global business where, hierarchy and face-saving are really important.
What do you mean by face-saving?
I mean, allowing someone to maintain their dignity, even when you're pointing out an error. Your email didn't do that. What sounds clear and efficient in, say, a text message to a coworker you know well.
Or like a to-do list for myself.
Exactly. That same language becomes rude or confrontational in a more formal email.
So clarity isn't the problem. It's the way I'm delivering the clarity.
Precisely. The root of the problem is in your grammar, the structure of your sentences. Every single one of those sentences began with the what we call the imperative tense.
Okay, let's define that. What is the imperative tense actually doing? Why is it a problem?
The imperative is the form of the verb we use for a direct command, an instruction. When you start a sentence with a verb pointed at the other person, send, reply, complete, do this, wait, you're issuing an order.
Right. There's no negotiation.
None. It assumes consent and compliance. It's the grammar a general would use with a private.
Yeah, that's not the vibe I want with my clients.
Exactly. You're assuming a level of authority over the other person that you might not have. And even if you are their manager, it just signals this rigidity. It shows a lack of respect for their schedule, their other tasks. It just kills any spirit of collaboration.
I see the problem now. It's a power play, even if I didn't mean it that way at all.
It is interpreted that way. The structure itself positions you as the superior and them as, well, just a tool to get something done. And good professional communication, even for things that are mandatory, has to have a tone of cooperation.
A partnership.
Partnership, mutual respect. And you get that tone by using the language of inquiry, of asking.
So we need to shift from barking orders to making polite inquiries.
We need to master softeners. A softener is just a word or a phrase or even a different sentence structure that shifts that power dynamic. It moves you from do this now to something like, would you be able to get to this? Or could we get this done by the end of the day?
So the softener is basically acknowledging that they're a person with their own schedule.
Exactly. It's not about pretending the work isn't important. It's about acknowledging the person doing the work as a respected colleague. And that is everything for long-term working relationships.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. Let's tackle that first big problem then, the command that started the whole email, the imperative tense.
Right. Let's move into how we fix that, how we shift from imperative to inquiry.
The really problematic phrase was, don't say, send me the report. That verb send right at the start of the sentence is the whole issue.
It is. Think about what happens in the recipient's brain when they read that. A direct command, it creates this immediate low-level stress response.
It puts them on the back foot.
It does. It forces them to be defensive or reactionary. We need to add some linguistic lubrication, to just smooth things out and keep it calm and professional.
So what's the first fix? The go-to replacement structure.
The absolute most reliable, most essential one is the conditional request.
Yeah.
You should say, instead, could you please send the report?
Okay, that feels like the gold standard. It immediately sounds collaborative, not demanding.
Let's break down exactly why that little phrase works so well. The magic, the real transformation, is in the modal verb could.
And what makes could so much better than, say, can? I hear people use can you all the time.
People do, but they carry a different weight. Can is usually about physical ability. Can you lift this box? It's a question of capability. Could, on the other hand, it introduces a conditional element. It makes the request sound a bit less certain, and because of that, more polite.
Ah, so it's not, I know you are able to do this. It's more like a gentle question about whether they're able to do it right now, given everything else.
Precisely. By asking, could you? You're showing respect for their time, for their schedule, even if the task is a mandatory part of their job. You're basically asking, is it possible for you, among all your other priorities, to complete this? It's a huge sign of respect.
And that little word please, I assume that's still non-negotiable.
Oh, absolutely essential. Please is the universal politeness marker. It works like an amplifier for the courtesy you're already showing with could. If you just say, could you send the report? It's better, but it can still sound a little impatient.
A little clipped.
A little clipped, yeah. Especially with a client or someone senior to you. Adding please just confirms that this is a professional courtesy, not just a softer order.
So could you please is the foundation. It's the workhorse of polite requests.
It is. You should default to it. Always choose could you please over can you. It's a small change that has a really big impact on your professional tone.
Okay, that's a really solid structure. But what if you need to be, extra courteous, like with a new client you're trying to win over, or a CEO? Is there another level up?
There is. And that brings us to the second, more advanced solution, the hypothetical inquiry. The phrase is, would you mind sending the report?
Oh, that is incredibly smooth. It sounds almost apologetic for even asking.
That is the exact nuance. Let's really detail the mechanism here because it's so powerful. This phrase is even softer than could you please, because it's not asking about their ability, it's asking if the action causes them difficulty.
So you're literally asking them, does doing this task bother you or inconvenience you?
Yes. You are placing their convenience and their workload above your own request. It is the absolute highest level of politeness in a direct request because you're explicitly giving them a chance to say that it's a burden.
But wait, this is where the grammar gets tricky. I've seen so many people get this wrong. We have to talk about what comes after that phrase.
Yes, absolutely critical point. This separates the pros from the novices. When you use the phrase, would you mind, the verb that follows must be in the gerund form.
The verbing form.
The verb plusing form, exactly.
So you can't say, would you mind to send the report?
You cannot. That is a very common error for learners. And you also can't say, would you mind send the report? Both are grammatically incorrect in standard English.
So give us the correct examples.
The correct forms have to be, would you mind sending the file? Or would you mind checking this for me? Or would you mind looking over these numbers? It always has to be that ing form.
It's a rule you just have to memorize, but the payoff is huge. It makes you sound so much more sophisticated and respectful. It's really worth practicing.
I think so. You can think of it like this. Could you please is your everyday tool. It's reliable, it's professional, use it all the time. But when you're talking to a client, to senior management, or maybe making a request that you know is a little bit of an inconvenience,
Then you pull out the, would you mind being?
that's your highest courtesy tool. And if you can master those two sentence starters, you can replace any command, any imperative verb, and instantly upgrade your professional voice.
Okay, that was an amazing breakdown of how to fix the command. But now we have to move on to the second part of my email, which was, I think, even more destructive.
Yeah.
The part where I played the blame game.
Right. Section 3, removing blame. This is all about using the passive voice strategically.
The horrible phrase I used was, Don't say you didn't answer my question. I can see it now. Starting with you and then immediately pointing out a failure. Just asking for a fight.
The word you, when it's followed by a negative action, you missed, you forgot, you didn't, it's like professional dynamite. It is the single fastest way to make an email feel like a personal confrontation.
Why does it have such a strong effect? That combination of you plus a negative.
Because it triggers an immediate threat response. The person reading it stops thinking about the actual issue, which is the missing answer.
And they start defending themselves.
Exactly. They start thinking about defending their competence, their schedule, their integrity. The whole conversation shifts from, let's solve this problem together, to, I need to defend myself from this attack.
Even if you never meant it as an attack.
Even if you had zero intention of attacking them, you've changed the goal. Instead of getting the answer you need, you're now doing damage control and trying to repair the trust you just broke.
And in any working relationship, that trust is everything.
It is. Blame just erodes it instantly. So the goal is to point out the issue while allowing the other person to save face.
So how do we do that? How do we say this question wasn't answered without pointing the finger at the person who didn't answer it?
This is where we use the distancing technique. And it's a beautiful use of grammar, specifically the passive voice. The preferred alternative is this. Say instead, I think this point might have been missed.
Wow. That is a complete reorientation of the sentence. You've taken the person out of it entirely.
Let's analyze it. In your original sentence, you was the subject. You was the one actively doing the negative thing.
Right. You didn't answer.
By using the passive voice, we remove that active blame subject. We just get rid of it.
And in the new sentence, the subject is now this point. It's about the information, not the person.
Right. The focus is on the object, the fact, the point that was missed, rather than the person who missed it. The verb missed is now passive. It depersonalizes the error. It suggests that maybe the error just sort of happened.
It's like you got lost in the shuffle.
Exactly. Maybe it was overlooked because there was a lot of information, or maybe the process was confusing. It doesn't imply that the person is incompetent or lazy.
And there are extra layers of softeners in there, too. You said, I think, and might have been.
Those are essential. They're like little humility markers. Starting with I think suggests that, hey, maybe I'm the one who's mistaken. Maybe I wasn't clear in my first email. It invites clarification instead of forcing them to admit they were wrong.
And might have been is also not definite. It's not this was missed. It's this might have been missed.
It's the difference between saying you crashed the car and it looks like the car has sustained some damage. One is an accusation. The other is an observation of a situation. You're saying it's possible that this item wasn't processed.
I can see so many uses for this. So instead of you forgot the attachment, you'd say.
Something like it looks like the file wasn't attached, or I don't seem to see the attachment here.
That's a great one. Or instead of you calculated this wrong.
You could say, it seems like there might be a discrepancy in these figures, or could we take another look at the Q4 forecast? The numbers look a bit different from what I expected.
So in all of these, the goal is cooperation over finding fault.
Precisely. This technique is so valuable because it lets the other person fix the mistake without feeling defensive. They don't have to write a long paragraph explaining why they missed it. They can just fix it.
And that saves everyone time and, well, dignity.
It reduces friction, it speeds up the resolution, and you get what you want much, much faster.
Okay, I have to push back a little bit here, though. This is a common concern. Doesn't this kind of language sometimes sound a bit, I don't know, weak or wishy-washy?
That's a great question.
If I'm a manager and I need something done, don't I need to sound decisive?
Absolutely, and this is a key distinction. The goal is not to sound passive, it's to sound cooperative.
Yeah.
You maintain your authority through the clarity of the action you request, not through the aggression of your language.
Okay, can you give me an example of that?
Sure. You can still be firm. You could write, the calculation error needs to be corrected by noon. You're being decisive about the task and the deadline, but you're still focusing on the error, not the person.
So you can pair the passive voice for the blame part with a clear instruction for the action part.
Exactly. You can combine our techniques. It appears the Q4 figures are incorrect. Could you please review them and submit a revised version by end of day?
Ah, that's the perfect synthesis. The blame is gone, but the instruction is crystal clear and professional. Okay, we fix the command, we fix the blame.
Mm-hmm.
Now for the last part of my horrible email, the demand for speed.
Yes. Section 4, softening urgency. Time to get rid of those aggressive abbreviations.
My final problem phrase was reply ASYP. And I use that because, well, everyone knows what it means. As soon as possible. It just feels efficient.
It is efficient, but as we've seen, efficiency is often the enemy of professional courtesy. In writing, especially with clients or people you don't know well, acronyms like AASAC just come across as
Abrupt.
abrupt, demanding, and a bit too casual. All caps, abbreviations. It communicates impatience. It shows a lack of respect for whatever else that person might be working on.
It's basically saying my priority should immediately become your only priority.
That's exactly how it's heard. Drop everything and deal with my thing now. And while I might be okay in a quick chat with a close colleague, it's really not appropriate in most emails.
So we need a way to signal urgency without sounding like we're yelling.
We need language that respects their autonomy while still making it clear that the task is a priority.
So what's the sophisticated, polite way to do that?
The preferred alternative is a full phrase. Say instead, I would appreciate your reply at your earliest convenience.
That is a massive linguistic
Right.
upgrade.
Oh,
Okay, let's break it down. Why does that work so well? Let's start with the beginning.
it starts with the conditional. I would appreciate. This is such a great softening tool. Using would shows gratitude in advance. You're not demanding the reply, you're expressing that getting it in a timely way will be a positive thing for you.
So it frames it as something helpful, not something mandatory, even if it is.
Exactly. It just establishes a grateful, non-demanding tone from the very start. And then we get to the power phrase that replaces ASP.
At your earliest convenience.
Yes.
It's a beautiful phrase, but what does it really mean in practice?
It literally translates to as soon as it is convenient for you. Now, this is key. It shifts the responsibility back to the recipient. It lets them prioritize the task based on their own schedule.
You're respecting their autonomy.
But, and this is important, the word earliest is still in there. And that clearly signals that this is a priority for you. You're saying, I know you're busy, but when you get a moment, please make this the next thing you do.
So it's not a loud alarm bell like ASAP.
No.
It's more of a gentle, professional nudge that respects their dignity.
That's a perfect way to put it. ASAP can create panic and resentment. At your earliest convenience signals a priority while showing respect. And that's critical for long-term relationships where you need people to cooperate with you again and again.
Now, I sometimes worry that phrase sounds a bit too formal, What if it's for an internal team I work with all the time? Are there other options?
Absolutely. You can adjust the level of formality. If that feels too stiff for your team, you can use other phrases that are still polite. For instance,
Like what?
for something not super critical, you could say, please let me know your thoughts when you have a moment. Very soft.
Okay.
If you need to set a clear deadline but still be polite, you could say, I'd be grateful for your input by end of day tomorrow.
That's good. It's respectful but very specific.
Or, if you could get back to me on this today, that would be a great help.
Right.
You're signaling urgency with the time frame, but it's wrapped in that polite conditional language.
So the key is just to get rid of the jarring, all caps abbreviations.
Yes, and replace them with full phrases that show respect for the other person's time. And here's another pro tip. If something is truly urgent, explain why.
Oh, that's a good one. Give them context.
Give them context. Instead of just reply ASAP, you could write, could you please get back to me on this by 10 a.m.? I need to get the contract finalized for the client meeting.
Or, I would appreciate your reply at your earliest convenience, as the team is waiting on this detail to move forward.
Exactly. By giving context, you turn your demand into a shared mission. It goes from, you need to do this for me, to, we need to do this for the project.
And that makes people want to help.
It makes all the difference. That is the hallmark of sophisticated professional communication.
Okay. We have completely taken apart that aggressive email. We've replaced every bad piece with a professional, polite alternative. Now I think it's time to put it all together.
Let's do it. Section 5, the cooperative communication.
All right, let me try again. I'm going to use all three of our new structures. This is the new and improved, corrected version of the email.
I'm listening.
Hi, team. Could you please send the Q4 report when you have a moment? Also, I think the question regarding the international sales forecast might have been missed below. I would appreciate your reply on that point at your earliest convenience. Looking forward to hearing from you.
Perfect. Just perfect.
It feels so different.
It is completely different. It's professional. It's friendly. It sounds cooperative. You've totally transformed the tone of the entire interaction.
The first one felt stressful even just to read aloud. This one sounds like a measured, respectful conversation.
It trusts the other person to do their job, Let's just quickly trace that transformation again.
Okay, so we started with the command. Instead of send me the report, we used the conditional request.
Which was?
Could you please send the Q4 report? This asks about their ability to help.
And that immediately sets a tone of partnership. Great.
Then we dealt with the blame. Instead of the awful, you didn't answer my question, we used the passive voice distancing technique.
Which came out as?
I think the question regarding the international sales forecast might have been missed below.
Yes. You focus on the question, not the person. And you use I think and might have been to soften it beautifully. It allows them to save face.
Exactly. And finally, we fixed the urgency. We got rid of reply ASAP and replaced it with.
I would appreciate your reply on that point at your earliest convenience.
Right. It shows appreciation in advance and gives them the autonomy to prioritize. And that little closing, looking forward to hearing from you, just reinforces that you expect a reply without being pushy.
This whole shift is so powerful because it gets you what you need. You get the file, you get the answer, but it also strengthens the relationship. It makes future cooperation much more likely.
You get the task done, and you build a bridge instead of burning one.
Precisely. And for anyone listening, this is such applicable knowledge. It directly impacts your career and how you're perceived as a colleague, especially in global teams where these cultural subtleties are so, so important.
Before we go, let's just quickly summarize those 3 key takeaways, just so you have them as, mental hooks you can use right away.
Good idea. Let's do a quick review of the core structures.
First, for any command or request, get away from the imperative verb. Your go-to phrases are, could you please, for standard requests.
Or, if you need to be extra polite, would you mind, followed by that being gerund form.
Right. Both of those show respect for the other person's time.
Second, for corrections or pointing out mistakes, never, ever start with you, followed by a negative.
Use the passive voice instead. Focus on the thing, not the person. The file seems to be missing. This point might have been overlooked.
And use those little softeners like it appears or it seems.
And third, for urgency. Throw out the aggressive shorthand. No more ASAP.
Instead, use a full, sophisticated phrase like, I would appreciate your reply at your earliest convenience. It signals priority while showing respect.
It seems like a lot to remember, but I think if you can just nail those 3 techniques, it changes everything.
It really does. It will instantly elevate your professional emails and make sure you're communicating clearly but also cooperatively.
No more angry clients complaining about aggression. Remember, politeness is power.
Exactly. It's the power to influence, to maintain good relationships, and to get results without creating unnecessary conflict. These small language changes have a massive impact on your reputation. So, here's a final thought for you to chew on. When does being polite go too far? When does using would you mind for every little thing actually start to sound like you lack confidence? How do you find that perfect balance between being assertive and being polite in your specific job or industry?
See you tomorrow.